that like button. So unless you live under a rock or you just don't follow politics, I really don't usually. Usually I don't watch presidential debates like that. They're kind of boring traditionally. But I watched that shit show last night. That was that was like a rap battle. You know, that was like a bad episode of Love and Hip Hop with without them doing the edits and the production and all the produced shit. That was just bad. It was good TV. It was funny. Uh, everything from the insults, the family insults, the constant interruptions. It was like watching two kindergartners. You're watching three old white guys, three borderline senile white guys discuss the issues of America, and it was like watching two kids. I mean, if you're black, if you're a black voter and you walked away from that feeling hopeless, I don't blame you. Because they mentioned black people for all out of 90 minutes. That debate was 90 minutes long. They mentioned black folks for 3.5 minutes. Trump brought it up first, only in to try to take a swipe at Biden, and brought up the African Americans. I've done more for no president's done more for the blacks since Abraham Lincoln. I was like, what? Because he freed the slaves. I'm like, yo, this nigga is hilarious. He said he's done more for any president since Abe Lincoln. And then he brought up the super predator comments Hillary Clinton and the Democrats made. And he brought up the 94 crime bill, which I did the whole video on that months ago. And Joe Biden only talked about black folks when it was mentioned by the moderator. And he talked about police brutality and how we're going to come together and we're going to stop this. And like, first of all, they make it seem like the narrative that these candidates have been pushing for black people is that police brutality is like our only problem. Like, that's the only issue black people have. We just gonna summarize it up to police brutality. Police brutality could end today, and black people are still fucked up, because you're 400 years behind socially, economically, education wise. We're fucked. And when you watch that debate, I'm like, yeah, we're doomed. Because it don't really matter. I was having a conversation with my coworker who's a Trump supporter, and yeah, I was like, yeah, whatever, that's your boy, but we're fucked either way. you know, there's really no hope, and I still see people say, oh, this isn't a joke. You guys better take this election seriously. And I'm like, how the fuck can I take this election seriously after watching that catastrophe, that joke of a debate last night? That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a rap battle. That was Love and Hip Hop. That was two old motherfuckers who don't give a fuck about black people, don't give a fuck about nobody but themselves, up there running their mouth. They talked about how bad Trump handled COVID-19, but fucking Joe Biden was hiding for 5 months, quarantining. Both of them are full of shit. And these people, you got people who are dedicated Republicans or either Democrats that have convinced themselves that whatever candidate is actually good. And I'm like, no, neither one of these motherfuckers is good. And for black people, this feels like, the fuck are we wasting our time for? And the first thing somebody say, well, your auntie and your grandma and them marched for you to vote in the 50s, and said, yeah, they did. And that's cool. And I think if they knew back then what we know now, they would have stayed their asses home. I'm sorry. You're not going to guilt me into doing this shit. That shit was a joke. Now, Joe Biden probably won't even do another presidential debate. He looked weak at moments during that debate. He looked old. He looked frail. At one point, Trump had him looking crazy when he brought up the $3 million and all of that shit. And Biden was just sitting there with that ghost face, ghost look on his face. He called Trump a clown. That was funny. Yeah, it was just, Trump looked like he had on shoulder pads. Like, it was just, you laugh at it, but at the same time, it's like, wow, it's too many brilliant, creative, intellectual people in this country, and these are the two options that you got to be the leaders of the free world. These two old white motherfuckers who got one foot in the grave and one foot up their ass. One foot is up their ass, one foot is up their fucking in the grave. It's ridiculous. They vote or die. I'm like, vote for who? Vote for the obvious racist guy with the red hat, or vote for the not so obvious racist guy, but you can see it. I mean, Kamala Harris would have probably been better off debating Donald Trump than fucking Biden. Because one thing about Trump, you're not gonna out trash talk Trump. That's just what Trump does. He insulted Joe Biden's education and all of that. You're not gonna out shit talk Trump. That's just what he is. Trump is a slick talker from New York City. You're not gonna. That's his game. You know, at one point, Joe Biden's wire got exposed. So I guess they were feeding him lines, his people. It was a shit show, man. It really was. And like I say, if you are a voter, a black voter, and you felt hopeless or just gave up, I know a lot of people watched that shit last night who were passionate about this election, who wanted to vote, and then they watched that shit and they said, I'm not wasting my time. And I don't blame them. So I mean, please stop with the vote guilt. Guilting people about not doing it. Your opinion doesn't matter. If you, I voted every year of my adult life, and yeah, I'm still gonna have an opinion, and I'm still gonna talk my shit, regardless if I go to the voting polls in November. Fuck you. If you don't like who's running, it's so different than this fucking Super Bowl. If you don't like either one of the teams that's playing, if you don't decide to watch, what the fuck, yeah, that's your prerogative, man. So the debate was a joke. It is what it is, and yeah, like I say, don't feel sorry about people knocking you if you don't want to vote. That was very discouraging. Even people who support Trump or support Joe Biden was sitting there like, oh God, in this now, in this. I watched the CNN panel, and normally they don't let you curse on TV, and the first thing that came out of one of the ladies' mouths, she said that was a shit show. That was a fucking shit show. That was bad. Van Jones was up there screaming and yelling and knocking on the table. Oh, yeah, we're fucked, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. If you are gonna vote, why and who are you gonna vote for? Let me know.